All right, May 21st, I'd like to call the Board for Licensing Contractors in Tennessee to order. We'll start with a roll call from Bill DeMint. Just state your name and where you're from.
Bill DeMint from Jackson, Tennessee.
Randy Chase, Nashville. Lee Carter, Nashville.
Reese Smith, Franklin.
Mark Rudd, Knoxville.
Andy Allen, Kingsport.
Ronnie Tickle, Memphis.
Jennifer Ransom, Memphis.
All right. First thing on our agenda is to adopt the agenda. Any discussion on the agenda or a motion to approve?
Motion.
Just do you have anything you want to add?
No, I was just about to get to.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of adopting the agenda as written? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the meeting minutes from the last meeting. I'll take a motion for that.
Motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, license reviews and approvals. We'll start with hardships. And I have a motion for approval of the hardships.
Move for approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we'll do contractor initial apps and all the waived interviews.
Move for approval.
Second. Is this the time though? For interviews?
No, it's coming up. All in favor of approving the contractor initial apps and waived interviews, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Contractor revisions, increases, add classes, mode, and name changes. Accept the motion for approval of those.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is approval of the LLEs, LLPs, and home improvement licenses.
Make a motion that we approve them as presented.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next are the applications with factors and interview.
Okay, yes, I have, file number 81249, Underdog Roofing LLC. They are presently licensed as a home improvement contractor. They have a proper application in for a BCA, and they have bid well over their license as a home improvement on a roof job for a local church. I interviewed them this morning. I would suggest that we do grant them a license for $300,000 and fine them $15,000.
Okay.
Pretty substantial, but they had maybe 3 jobs over, well, 25. Underdog Roofing LLC, Nashville.
Any questions or discussion? Vote on this. Take a motion for approval.
Right, I'm the
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries. Any other interviews? Yes. Randy?
Yeah, I've got one. It's file 75940. It's a reinstatement application. Company's backyard construction. Bill and I met with the gentleman. He's a pool contractor basically had a home improvement license for many years and then upped that to a BCA little r because the pools and, installations got to be more expensive than what a $25,000 license. So he got it, he let his license expire a year ago. I think he got a little confused. He's in Memphis. He went to Memphis, got his local license cover renewed. He thought that was all he needed to do. And he continued to bid on jobs until someone kind of flagged it. So he applied for the reinstatement. We had originally looked at finding him for the 4 projects at $2,500 a piece, which was $10,000, and seemed pretty burdensome to him as being a small guy. So Bill and I agreed to reduce that from $10,000 to $5,000. And once he pays that fine, then we'll reinstate his license.
So the court reporter has asked to identify yourself when speaking so she can mark it down.
This was Raymond Chase.
Any questions or discussion? Take a motion for approval of recommendation.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Any other interviews?
I have one. File number 81008. Sage Home Builders LLC. He applied for a BCA license. Billy was doing some home improvement. It's 5 projects over $25,000. Issued a fine. I think it was with me, by the way. And he was asking for $100,000 $1 million monetary limit. Dropped the monetary limit down to $500,000 and asked for him to be approved, subject to the man fine $6,000.
Chairman Broad, I apologize. The court reporter does not know who is speaking if you don't say your name first before speaking. Thank you.
Just say your name before you start speaking.
Bonnie Tickle. Yeah, I'm making the motion.
Second. Andy Allen, second.
Mark Rudd, any other questions or discussion about that? All in favor of Ronnie's recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Other interviews need to discuss. Were there some that did not show up?
Yes. We had CNA Investments of Tennessee LLC and Marine Innovations of Tennessee LLC.
Okay. Few others on. Not talked about.
I can talk about file number 8092. This is Jennifer Ransom of Blankenship Builders. Keith had originally reviewed the file and asked them to come in for an interview to explain their projects that they had listed. They were seeking a monetary limit in excess of $700,000, but their largest projects were in the $5,000 to $10,000 range. And he recommended that they do a monetary limit of $125,000 and then come back after they had a little bit more experience to get that increased. And after they explained their projects, they accepted that $125,000 monetary limit as their limit, and they will come back in a few months once they have a few more projects under their belt. So they were approved at $125,000 as a BCA. So a motion for approval.
I think Andy Allen.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I had one, it was file number 10295, home improvement. Keith had reviewed it, posing $3,000 fine for unlicensed home improvement. County requires licensing for over 3,000. As it turns out, the work that was done was before his license expired. He lost license at the time of work. His license expired in November and has been out of town since then. Now he's back and wants to renew his license. Through that, suggest we approve it. Waive the fine since he hasn't been violating. I'd like to just go down this list, make sure we got them all. Sage didn't show up. Or no, Sage was right. CMA did not show up. Backyard construction. Randy did that one. Eads Building Partners,
Yes,
you did that one. Moving for approval.
yes. That's Randy Chase.
MSIB is the one I just talked about. Marine Innovations.
They did
They
not show
didn't
up.
show up. Underdog Roofing,
I did that recently.
Blankenship Builders,
I did that one, Jennifer Ransom.
okay. RLG Handyman Services,
They canceled.
so of the remaining ones, I would take a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Just make sure, identify which ones those are. It would be NSJV, Jennifer's Blankenship Park Builders. Those two we approved.
We did approve mine. We did approve
Oh.
Blankenship. Yeah.
So it's just the NSI,
NSJB,
NSJV
It is.
needs. All in favor of approving those two, say aye. Any opposed?
this is Kathy. Mark, I just got a message that Marine Innovation, their flight was delayed.
If they get here before the meeting's over, we can talk to them. Now, there were applications with factors as well. Haven't discussed that.
What are those? Kathy?
The applications factors are the ones that were fined based on board review of application. They accepted the fine and most of them have paid and been issued a license.
We should approve those as listed.
I'll make a motion. That's Randy Chase. Make the motion that we approve the applications with factors as presented.
Second. Jennifer Ransom.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. All right, next on our agenda is residential continuing education provider reviews, course approvals. Who's taking the lead on that? Okay. Chattanooga State Community College. Be approved for PCA-R. They have an instructor that wants to be approved. Is that what that is?
Yes, it was, they have an additional instruction they want to add.
And they also have an additional residential continuing ed course that they want added.
Yes.
Any discussion on that? Make a motion for approval.
Second, Reese.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do we have to approve the instructors? Thought we just approved
Companies.
companies. So I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
it's not the start.
Yeah, I think it's full, it looks like it's a full blown application, doesn't it? Chattanooga State, they do have a resume.
I think they were previously approved, weren't
Mhm.
they? They just are adding an instructor and a course. All right, we have one more, all for contractors, a new RCE course. Same, basically, they're just adding a course.
Yeah.
Any discussion on it? Make a motion for approval.
Yeah, I'll make some motion.
Ronnie Tickle seconds.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Motion carries. Next are the legal reports.
Good morning, members. For the court reporter, this is Kyle Johnson. We had one change to the legal report. That's number 41, case number 2024-003-831. That civil penalty is being increased to $5,000. That was the only change.
Good morning. I also need to, this is Kania Saralou. I also need to update the board on our statutory citations since our last board meeting in March. The board's designee has sent out 17 statutory citations via certified mail, which sending those out by certified mail is allowed under the unlicensed contractors statute, and it and we have had 3 of these 17 pay their citations so far, which totaled $3,000. I also believe at the last board meeting in March, I was asked to provide an update regarding the collection efforts for the Caldwell plumbing case. Legal contacted the Attorney General's office, which the Attorney General's office handles collection matters for this on behalf of the state, not just our department. And the update that the Attorney General's office was able to give me is that this matter, the Caldwell plumbing matter, was referred to them in February of 2024, and it is still being evaluated by their office. Because collection efforts could potentially result in litigation. Any further information may fall under attorney-client privilege. So that was all they were able to provide. That was the information that the AG's office was able to share with us. But it is currently being evaluated by them.
They have not sent the company an invoice or whatever judgment, but
The Attorney General's office, I'm not sure if they have or not. Our office has sent them a copy of the judgment and also a demand letter prior to referring the matter to the Attorney General's office.
they're still evaluating. But may not have sent it on to the contractor.
I am not sure what it potentially might be it might be evaluated for litigation.
Or they're being able to operate without paying their fines and stuff.
No, their license was revoked by the board in September of 2023, at the end of the hearing.
So what's the next step? Do we hear back from them they finish their review?
After the case is concluded, typically we don't get an update. I could ask for them to keep us updated on what happened with the collection efforts, but the board has already revoked Caldwell Plumbing's license. Their license was revoked at the end of the September meeting, so Caldwell Plumbing can no longer operate in Tennessee.
That's all we're gonna get. See, I was gonna ask on the citations that were issued, who is determining what the fine is?
Those are determined by statute. There is a statutory cap of $1,000 for unlicensed contractor violation and a statutory cap. I think the statutory cap 500 potentially, or what we typically find out is 500 for HIC violation.
And 1,000 for contractor violation.
Correct.
Is that an inspector that determines the?
No, it is determining whether a citation should be issued.
Right.
That is the typically the executive director, or they sign on the citation. The executive director, or in this case, the executive director, the board's designee, has the statutory authority to issue statutory citation.
Is that you, Alex, that has issued those, or?
Yes, sir. Alex Warren. So I think 2 or 3 meetings ago, while we were working on filling the executive director role, the board had delegated myself with that authority. I've been signing off on those at the recommendation of legal, and that's probably something that we need to take care of today, is to put that authority back.
Authorize Chris to do that.
Yes, sir.
That's something we want to do now.
Go ahead and make a motion on the legal report.
All right, we'll do that first. All in favor of accepting the legal report?
Make a motion that we accept the legal report. And then Randy Chase.
Second, Jennifer Ransom.
Now, all in favor of accepting the legal report as amended, say aye. Any opposed? That carries. I'll accept the motion to give our new executive director able to sign citations. Other things he signed.
I think we also, Alex Martin, legal, if y'all could help advise on if that needs to be separate motions or the same motions, but the custodian of record signing affidavits regarding board records probably needs to be taken care of as well.
They can be in the same motion.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Motion?
So moved. Reese Smith.
Second?
Andy, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of approval, say aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thanks. Legislative update, Stuart Hall.
Thanks, sir, Mr. Chairman. Stuart Huffman, board attorney. Got a few things. As y'all know, there was a bill that passed last session. It's codified under public chapter 0664. It amends the Tennessee Code Annotated 62-6-116, paragraph D, David, regarding submitting a renewal application for a monetary limitation greater than 1.5 million. must be accompanied by a compilation prepared by a licensed public accountant or a certified public accountant. Any renewal application of 1.5 million or less is accompanied by a notarized statement that the information contained in the financial statement is true and correct. One little thing in here is if the board with cause believes that a review or an audit needs to be conducted, then they have that option instead of a compilation. So it just depends on the situation. If the board feels like they need something a little bit more financial statement. Also, this came into effect April 9th, 2024. Also, this will cause a rulemaking hearing. We're gonna have to change the rule to reflect the actual statute. So for discussion only, we don't have to vote on this, it's just discussion, but there are a couple of other changes that we probably need to make. This will come into more of a voting for next meeting. The rules of the Tennessee Home Improvement Commission under Chapter 0765, that's no longer in effect, so those will have to be repealed. Because everything was, the Home Improvement Commission was put into this commission, so. And there's some other rules that need to be updated. And what I'll do is I'll send these out individually. So if you have any questions or concerns or anything, you just come to me and Chris. So like I said, I'll get that out to you, and then the next meeting we'll have an official vote to start the rulemaking process. That's all I have.
In the meantime, good application for renewal licenses under and approve final.
If it's $1.5 million or less, you can approve just by notarized statement, which actually in the process, at the end of the application process, there's a box that they check. And it says that they attest that everything is true and correct. Anything over $1.5 million, that is a compilation. You can approve it through the compilation. It does not have to be a review or not.
Over $1 million.
Has to be 1.5 million and $1. So above
3 million.
to
So
unlimited.
unlimited.
Oh. Wow.
Anything over 1.5 million. Because it's now just a compilation. Well, unless you
You
decide.
can. A compilation is the baseline. You can still submit a reviewed or an audit if you want to.
Right, that's why that was put in that statute, is that if you have cause, you can request a review or an audit.
This is just on renewal, sitting on an initial.
Only renewals.
So that's what they're trying to, once you get it.
Right. Initial applications and monetary limit increases or decreases, that still has a $3 million mark.
Thank you.
I'm confused. What's the difference between over $1.5 million and
CPA component.
It's the notarized statement of just attesting yourself, say, hey, this is true and correct, or having a public accountant or CPA providing a compilation.
CPA is not involved? Licenses, license.
Right. And on renewals. Trying to make it a little bit more streamlined and easier for renewals.
So help me. So if you raise, so if you renew for 2 million, what do you have to submit?
Compilation,
Up to 3 million.
unlimited. Doesn't have to be 3 million. No, that's only for monetary limit increases or for initial applications. So if you're renewing, just every 2 years when you renew, and there's a monetary limit of over 1.5 million, then you have to provide a compilation from a CPA.
Under, it just has to be tested to.
And under, it's just checking a box that they attest that everything's true and correct. And that goes up to unlimited. So it's not just the 3 million, it's unlimited.
Chairman, if I can clarify, Alex Martin, concern and question that I had originally when the statute came into effect is, does that mean only a compilation could be accepted for those licenses where for those renewals we're talking about being impacted, or could it also be a review or an audit? Legal has said because a review in the CPA world and then an audit goes up into a higher standard that we're still able to accept those. So compilation is acceptable, but what my concern was, somebody already has it as part of their corporate structure, they're already reviewing an audit. They may not need a compilation. We can still accept an audit as well, so they're not having to go do something over and above.
Any other questions on that?
So are we still on rulemaking?
Yes. Did you have, I think Alex had something to.
All right.
So Alex Martin, we think that there's probably some other things that might need to be addressed in this rulemaking package. So in addition to some specifics to the new statute, a couple things that I think have come up within the last little bit, or potentially taking a more detailed look at the well driller classification. I think we had some questions about that at a meeting or two ago. Additionally, something we've identified internally that probably needs to be clarified by the board is how we're looking at gap standards. For example, it's not, the statute is silent on how long an audit or review, or now I guess a compilation, could be considered. So we should probably think about, we want to have our own standard, or are we going to reference a time frame with gap, example, a year, 18 months, what's acceptable? Those types of things probably need to be laid out in the rule. And the Stewart, I know that we had planned and have it on the agenda to talk about the application process. Can that be, do we have to have a motion to bring that up into this time? It's probably more relevant to rulemaking.
Yeah, we can have a motion on the application process.
Yeah, so Reese had asked that this be brought up, and we added it into new business, but it's relevant to rulemaking as well. If there's a motion to discuss it now.
Discussion, Jennifer Ransom.
So
Wait a second.
I'll second it, please.
So Reese, I believe at your request, and I think one or two other board members had suggested that this come out for discussion as well. And so we've run the traps internally and checked with legal. As y'all know, this board sees a lot of initial applications, monetary limits, name changes, ownership changes, those types of things. So in looking at the statute, it's pretty clear. We thought at first that it could be a simple board vote, but it's pretty clear in the statute that the board does have the ability to delegate some of those things to the executive director if y'all wish, but it's clear that that does have to be articulated in a rule. So that's sort of the short answer of where we stand. Chris has compiled a list of what types of things currently go out to the board, and he can speak to that. But that's probably something that we either need some discussion or input on from y'all as a body further, so that we can draft a rule package that's reflective of those changes.
Well, I just mentioned to the commissioner about, I'm not sure as a board, we have to see name changes or mode changes. I'm not sure we need to see home improvement applications the first time. I'm not sure we need to see maybe 3 million and under every time. Because I think you told me other boards, maybe more sophisticated than us, that their board members never see applications. Remember that? What boards are that?
Yes, sir. So what's typical is that boards will look at applications that they're required to by statute. So fresh start applications will be a good example. That the statutes there specifically references the licensing authority, so that can be delegated. This board already has a pretty good process in place for saying, hey, here's the applications that are factors, right? So if there is a question about experience, it might be appropriate to have an interview or a more of a lengthy conversation about that. If there's been prior disciplinary history, those could all be examples of things that y'all still might wish to look at. So again, we don't necessarily have a position on that. We just want to provide, here's the pathway from legal, and here's kind of what's normal from other boards.
We probably need to give guidance to Stewart or others about what staff should be approved to do. So you could start the rulemaking process, which would take a year. Even at that, and there's no solution in the meantime, right?
No, sir. Unfortunately, and I got creative, Chris can tell you, and we tried to push on that, but unfortunately, the statute is pretty clear. The board does have the ability to delegate, but it does have to expressly be in rule.
I'm just saying, so we can't delegate to staff.
You can, when it comes to license approvals, you can delegate to staff and the board can have a conversation about it, but whatever decision is made will have to be put into a rule to be effective. Am I still not getting there?
Yeah, no, I think we understand.
Right. So if you didn't put it in rule, then you've not delegated it.
Okay.
Is
We can't delegate while we're waiting on the rule.
No, sir. I wish that was the case, but I'm sure I have talked to all of the attorneys.
I mean, just to break it down, I mean, we're all inundated with this, but I just don't think we need to see name changes. Even home improvement, we got good folks that already accountants that have already done it, and maybe anything under unlimited. That might be a stretch, but whatever. I mean, the ones I get are already noted, felony or something with CPA or whatever the issue.
Don't qualify financial.
Don't, yeah, agreed to lower limit, or you just say approved.
And those would all be examples where other boards would pull up, to be clear, other boards would pull those out of the stack and say, okay, these don't fit nicely into a bucket. Let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I think that this Randy Chase, I think that's where we ought to hit is delegate it. And if they need us, they can reach out to us. That's what you're saying it needs to be.
Maybe it's unlimited, maybe we need to see all of those before they turn them loose on the typing stadium or something. So what's our next move?
Are you talking about just renewals or are you talking
I'm
about
not
initial?
new applications.
Well, I think
Say anything other than, everything other than renewals. Renewals, I think, is the only thing you don't see right now.
I think if we're having this discussion, and then, like I said, next meeting, we're gonna be voting on some of these rule changes. So if y'all want to delegate everything but renewals, or you want to be specific, then I can write this down and I can present that at the next meeting to vote on.
Okay, and it's okay with the board, I'll talk to you offline and anybody else can. Talk
Right.
to you in regards to new applications.
You need to directly talk to Chris and I.
Okay.
Stuart Huffman, sorry.
We definitely get inundated with them, but my only issue is probably 10% of the applications aren't applying for the right classification. Yeah. Especially when you get to MU and HRA and heavy construction. That's when they really get lost, especially HRA. You know, you got a guy that seals concrete or seals asphalt on HRA line. So
And it's not tested.
that would be my only concern. I like your idea. I see a lot of those.
Yeah, I think I would, in order to approve that or go along with that, I think we would want to see what the staff's means of going through them, making sure that there's two sets of eyes that look at them, or how are we gonna, what's the process gonna be? So I agree with you, Andy. We get a bunch that are not right for various reasons. So how are we gonna filter, not a bunch, but I mean, a few.
10%.
Yeah. And so,
We'll take baby steps and just do
Yeah.
away with home improvement and name change and mode change and
yeah, I agree with that.
maybe even monetary limits.
The A-R one, I'm good with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty
Yeah, that's-
specific. You know what you're after there,
Right.
right? But when you get into the mechanicals, the electricals, the
Well, and my understanding is y'all got great latitude, flexibility in your rules. I mean, it could even be, oh, we want to delegate all these things with the express factors of experience, financials, or certain classifications. So that really is up to the board in this case.
Lee Carter, from a liability standpoint, with staff approving it and board for giving the blessing for you guys to make those approvals, is any particular liability
in our bylaws or standards here that we're held to as a board to make sure that we have staff control. Does that make sense? There's some kind of is there an opening here for somebody to come in and say, hey, the board didn't approve this or did approve this based on what precedent has been set today, how the board interacts.
I don't believe there's any liability in the statute or the rule that would state that. You're approving, the board is approving through the executive director. So it wouldn't be like an individual member or anything like that, have liability on it.
Yeah, and Mr. Carter, I would argue as well, I mean, the board, by articulating what the requirements for a license are in rule, right, those are some of the standards that have already been put in place.
So that aren't existing.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Stuart and Chris are gonna work on a recommendation to us.
Yeah, we'll speak with Reese, and work on what specific, application that, you want to delegate for the executive director staff. We'll present that.
Do we want to vote next meeting? Discuss it again.
I think we need to continue to discuss it. I'm still kind of, I mean, there are so many intricacies to like this, the municipal stuff and HRAs and all that. I'm just worried that the staff isn't going to necessarily be able to determine which license the person's supposed to have. And all of a sudden they're out there building a dam. You're not qualified to build a dam, because it gets a little crazy in there. So I worry about that being a liability. Something happens, they come back and say, well, hey, the board approved me to build a tank. For the, so there is some, we probably need to continue to talk about this. I don't like the big pile of stuff to approve either. Get rid of the name changes and the mode changes and all that, maybe feel a little more. I just think we need to be careful before we approve that.
Maybe be a residential.
Yeah.
BCA. There's no kids.
BCA, little, yeah.
But I mean, like for instance, the other day I got one that was the produce commercial. And the approval was to make, I think the limit for that's 1.5 million. The way it's presented to me, that's already kind of approved, was increasing their limit from 750,000 to 3 million under the reduced things. They didn't have to take a test for the BCB. So now they can't do that. They stay under the 1.5 before they got to go take the BCB test. So you run into some of those kinds of things that I think if that had got approved, they're out there doing $3 million worth of $3 million project and they never took the BCB test. That's a problem. License commercial contract. That's anyway, that's just there's not that many hours, but they're gonna be some.
Stuart, no, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of classification issues that you need the industry experience to look at applications. I know there's going to be some though that we can delegate, but I would do. We can discuss it next meeting. Like I said, we'll get with Reese and kind of go through. And if y'all have questions about it, reach out to Chris and I, and we'll take care.
We'll just get that.
Yeah, we're just kind of getting it out there to start discussing it, start minimizing.
Yeah.
And there are some, I mean, we definitely have rules that need to be changed with the statute, so we can discuss it. And I'll put it in one big rulemaking package.
Can I ask something else? Can somebody bring us up to date? I'm sure everybody is. I'm periodically getting calls. Guy said my renewal in November. It's about to expire, and here it is. Almost May 1.
Yeah.
Our backlog of renewals or even new applications.
Yeah, this is Chris Burkhardt, Executive Director. I was gonna go into a little bit of that. We're not completely caught up. We're making good progress on items that are aging. We are having a dedicated effort to looking at, the oldest things and working our way through to the newest things. We're making good strides, but I will say we're not caught up, but we are at least getting and having processors touch applications within the first couple of days. Sometimes there are issues, and then sometimes that's our issue that something fell through the crack, with the process, so we're cleaning that up. Or sometimes, hey, we've contacted and we're waiting on the applicant to provide us with something. But we're definitely, we're by no means perfect, but we're improving, getting better with the.
If you got a renewal Monday, what's the approximate turnaround time?
I'll say under 30 days at this point, to get that. We've actually we're hitting those. We're trying to burn the candle at both ends. We understand that there is a backlog, but we also don't want to set the new ones, have them sitting out around too long. If everything is there, ready to go, I mean, I've already approved renewals that are, that were coming due in June expiration dates, things like that. So I fully acknowledge and understand that there are some things that we are cleaning that up. We're working hard to do that. But as a whole, those escalations or those things that you see, I've seen a reduction over the last. I've only been here for a month. I've seen kind of some reductions of those escalations being reduced down little by little. Obviously, it doesn't hit personally with the person at the other end that's still waiting. But as a large process, we're getting better.
Chris, it's Ronnie. You might have mentioned that you do have more staff.
We do have more staff. I'm new. We got some new processors that's been on board for a few months, and obviously that takes time to see all different permutations of documents and things. And so, but we are, we trained everybody on the hardest application, which is the initial application, and they've got that down pat. And then so we've opened that up to all different flavors of things that we've been discussing, mode changes, renewals. And so we're basically cross training everybody to do all kinds of different applications instead of having one person specialize. And then if that person's out for any period of time, we don't want that stack of to suffer. So we're getting the new staff up trained, and then they're just performing well, and then we're seeing our numbers start to decrease as far as the backlog.
And Catherine has been wonderful all through this stretch with the
Yes.
executive director changes and everything else. She's
It's been developed.
Yes.
Chris, did you have anything else on your board updates?
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing? We had a motion in a second to discussion of applications. Y'all go ahead and vote that we're going to continue discussion. I've got this motion in a second sitting out there.
Okay, all in favor of approving that motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, Chris Burkhardt here, Executive Director. Been on board since first day was April 10th. The new statute that Stuart was just talking about was came into effect April 9th. So we're playing communication strategies on getting everything updated in that matter ever since I started day one over a month ago. And so thank you for that update. I just want to iterate that the new statute change is for renewals only, and so hopefully that will make the process that much easier for renewals. I've been on board for about a month, just kind of trying to understand the state of play of, there's over 34,000 active licenses in the state of Tennessee, and so in the course of over 2 years, you have to approve that many over the course of 2 years. So that's a substantial amount, and then we're seeing I won't say exponential, but a steady growth of new applications, about 40 or 50 more in each month alone in 2024 than we saw over 2023. So that in turn also becomes your new renewal pool at some point. So there's a lot of renewals and there's a steady growth of new applicants. So, and I know you all are seeing those right now. So just want to kind of put that out there. So overall, we have to kind of approve over, 65, 66, approvals each day in our system just to kind of keep that. So it's a large process, but we have great staff. I've got 5 processors, full-time processors now on board doing that. I have 3 auditors as well that doing the financial piece, and we have Kathy and Janine as the managers, kind of working behind the scenes, working the escalations, the hard things that come up. And so, but we will be down an auditor coming here at the end of the week. Advertising for a new auditor position, but it helped alleviate that kind of hole. Kathy and Janine are able to step in and temporarily do the audit piece, and so that will help keep that flow going. So, we'll hopefully continue to see the trends of the turnaround time to improve as a whole. So, but I've been enjoying every minute I've been on board for the past month, and so that's what I have. Any questions?
No questions. We'll move to new business. Any public comments? Residential construct or continuing education combining courses.
Not quite sure on that one.
I can
would
speak.
like to have that in there. Sir.
This is Kathy. I think that's what like Reese was talking about. If they have to have if they're just adding a course, does it need to come back before the board?
Our approval of that.
Yes.
Question on that? One of the things we would like to see staff approve rather than us. Okay. So. And then board review of applications. Any other new business today?
Is this Commissioner Martin's last scheduled meeting with us?
Well, I thought I was gonna get out of here without being called out, but now that. So, it is not my last meeting. I will be at future meetings, but, we'll be attending in a different role. So, just want to say thank you all. Appreciate this board. I've had the opportunity to work, very closely with this group, through some of the leadership changes that we've had, and have enjoyed every second. Reed Wisher will be moving into the role as Assistant Commissioner for Regulatory Boards on June 3rd. He's currently the department's legislative director. He's got a great understanding of the division as a whole, some of the kind of unique pieces that go into the work that we do, and he'll do a great job.
Right. Any other new business? Right, I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
Andy, I'll make that motion.
Ronnie Tittle, Vegas.
All right. I don't think we have to vote on it, do we?
Unless there's objections.
Yeah, I got